Whoa. Here we are. Big movie today because I was scrolling. Again, I was scrolling through Amazon Prime and I found the gem, found the movie I remembered renting maybe at least three times back in the day. Never could finish watching it. Forced myself to do it. Loved it. And man, it's a little bit topical. Believe it or not, a lot of current things are connected to this movie. So this is Dream Warriors, 31 Days of Dread, Day 6. Let's go. So we're back. Loaded intro, right? There was a lot said there. Yeah, so the movie is The Dark Half. Came out in 1993, based on Stephen King book, which is again one of the topical aspects that I referred to earlier. Stephen King, right now, geez, you can say hotter than ever. Uh, Everyone's gravitating towards him again, and everybody just wants more Stephen King with it. No one really cared with Dark Tower, but they cared with it. And directed by George Romero. We know him from Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Pivotal, milestone, how horror movie, the movie that brought us the zombies. I think a lot of people give. I don't think they give that movie too much credit because Night, Day, and Dawn of the Living Dead is a trifecta that is amazing to watch, amazing to experience. But the zombie genre, I don't think you get much credit for that. People are like, "What do you mean zombies are so huge right now?" It's like not really. Walking Dead is huge. So we have 1968, Night of the Living Dead. Nothing of real relevance, in my opinion. Cultural relevance, um, influential relevance, until we hit The Walking Dead. And Robert Kirkman and I think Tony Moore, the co-creator of Walking Dead, who never gets mentioned anymore. Let me just, I might have to look that up real quick. Who co-created? Mark would know. I know Mark would know. Um, Walking Dead. Uh, yeah, Tony Moore. Oh yeah, and Charlie Adlard. Incredible artist. You know, but anyway, yeah. So, really, like not until 2010 that season one for Walking Dead. So, The Dark Half is a wonderful movie. Um, the other topical part would also be that George Romero recently passed away in 2017 with he had a battle with lung cancer, and which really isn't too much of a surprise because if you saw any interview, I don't think I've seen one interview with Romero where he wasn't smoking. And some of them included convention interviews, so he was smoking indoors. That's just my recollection, but yeah, um, yeah, and it's not really so much of his death; it's what people said around his death that is our second real topical focus, which is um, people remember Night of the Living Dead losing its private ownership status and going into the public domain. That's a whole other thing. Mark and I are touching on maybe doing like a full episode on rights and movies that came through right hell, not development hell, but and this is really connected to our most recent Blade Runner conversation. But yeah, so when he died, everyone magnified on this and was took a position that evil corporations took the rights away from George Romero or whatever. Okay, because of the corporate greed, the capitalist system made him lose his artistic ownership, and it was just one of those things where okay, maybe. I mean, I think at the time Marvel Comics owned the term zombie. They had not released it yet. So that's a factor people completely forget. And the other factor is that this movie came out in 93. Night of the Living Dead, his first movie, was directed in 1968. I believe it was shot in Pittsburgh, where he's from. So from 68, we'll just say to 93. He had a heck of a run. He did a lot of good movies, and people have forgotten about these movies. So I haven't seen his follow up to Night of the Living Dead. There's Always Vanilla. I haven't seen the follow up to that, Season of the Witch, which I feel like I should have. But I've seen the next run, The Crazies, Martin, Dawn of the Dead, Night Riders, Creepshow, Day of the Dead, Creepshow 2. He was the writer for that, I think, the producer. Monkey Shines, another Stephen King collaboration. Creepshow, 82, no, Stephen King again. So he collaborated with Stephen King 3 times. Tales of the Dark Side movie, writer. The Two Evil Eyes, writer, director, not familiar with. Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 remake. He was writer, and The Dark Half coming in at 93, writer, director. So most of his movies have a favorable rating if you just go through what's on Wikipedia. And there's other he's got more of a filmography. In early 2000s, he was able to wrestle back, I think, some of the rights for of the Dead, right? The other party took Night of or something. It was a weird agreement. Something very similar is happening with Friday the 13th. We're all curious on how that's going to turn out. So he was people view his later life, I guess maybe very much like Tesla. They just want to idolize these creators that they think have been smited or wronged. And just put him maybe like too much of a pedestal. But he was making a living during his revival doing the zombie movies, none of which I think were good. I think I saw Diary and Remembering Survival, and okay, moving on. And I was so excited to see the Diary of the Dead because I just remembered Twilight of the Dead at the time, and I thought that was like a proposed fourth movie or a part of this arc that he wanted to do, starting with the original Night of the Living Dead. And I thought it would have been so cool with him coming back if he did a movie titled Twilight of the Dead and connected it to those earlier movies. Just like in tone and maybe even make him like a period type piece. I thought that would have been fantastic. But hey, whatever. Yeah. So Romero, I think this is Romero's next to Night Riders, 1981. That starred Ed Harris. I think The Dark Half is. Oh, we got a little. I got to put my phone on. I'm so bad with this. Hold up here. That's location. Okay. Yeah, I think The Dark Half is definitely his most overlooked movie. Because I don't know. It also starred Timothy Hutton, who, when it comes to actors, there's very little. Like, okay, so you need actors to make your product. There's very few things that you can give an actor to do that will elevate the product outside of the source material, or even if that source material is a screenplay. That's how I'm using that term. And by this I mean, all right, so you can put the character in full makeup, okay, completely transform him or her, and you get you get something out of that. You get publicity out of that. You can give the actor or actress an accent to do. We always look towards Daniel Day-Lewis with that. You can give the actor, full blown retard. You don't go full retard. Tropic Thunder over there. Okay, so I don't know if you follow me, but so dark half is one of those techniques that we use in filmmaking, which is let's give the actor himself to play. Let's give him a twin. Actors love this. They can make good work with this challenge, and that's really what Dark Half is. I think Dark Half is one of the better split personality twin movies, and that is a dark half within the movie. Let's just run through the movie real quick. So, again, takes place in Stephen King town, Maine or wherever, because he has a setting for all of his movies. Sorry. Let's take a drip, a sip of my coffee. And I'm trying to drink better with the microphone. But I'm losing myself here. I wanted to go through some of So Timothy Hutton at one point was he was going to win the Oscar for best everything. His first movie, 1980, Ordinary People, got him every nomination you can imagine. And this is followed by Taps, Daniel, Iceman, Falcon and the Snowman, Turk 182, one of my favorites, Made in Heaven, A Time of Destiny, Betrayed, Q&A, Strangers to Temp, and just like Romero, post 93, the both of them kind of faded into obscurity. He's been working every single year, practically, between TV and television, but never really got another chance, another role that he did, with Ordinary People. But incredible screen presence, incredible look, incredible actor. I think he is one of the best of the 80s, because he came up through artistically or deep, intellectually targeted intent movies, being Ordinary People, where his contemporaries came up through romantic comedies. He came in as a young actor, and it's an incredible career still in my eyes. So let's just run through this movie. So Timothy Hutton plays Stephen King. I think the only other, like Woody Allen puts himself in a lot of things. I think him and Stephen King are probably neck and neck on how many times they've done that to each other. So Timothy Hutton is an author. He starts writing these books, and they don't do anything. And then he takes on like a pseudonym, and these books sell. The pseudonym is written by his dark half. Now, throughout the movie, he does a manifestation, and he brings this dark half to life, and it starts killing the people connected to Timothy Hutton, connected towards the good side. Very similar to Fight Club. This movie is, in my view, a huge precursor to Fight Club. So, at that point, we have Good Murders. We have Timothy Hutton splitting himself. There's one scene where he's on a coffee table talking to himself, and his leather decked out blacker version, like the all black everything version, kicks a whiskey bottle off the table and catches it and pours it all over this hole in his hand. Like total Tyler Durden move, but boss move right there. And yeah, so the movie also has Yondu. It has Michael Rooker in it, which I completely forgot. Michael Rooker, I don't know, what hasn't he ever been good in? So he's the cop investigating this. And so the movie has a really cool ending, I think. These ideas of sparrows. If you ever see box art for this, it looks like bats, but they're sparrows. And these sparrows are, they get explained through your stereotypical old lady that knows a lot about books, that lives around books, and she explains these things to Timothy Hutton. Uh, you know, a convention we've seen in a lot of horror movies. The one thing, side note here, horror franchises, or not franchises, just horror movie storytelling. The horror movies in general are conventions built on conventions, and they've been like this for a very, very long time. A lot of, I think, modern critics, modern reviewers, the point that they miss is that these conventions have always been there, they've always been used. Now, as a regular film goer, as a film buff, as a cinephile, you see less originality the longer you watch horror movies because you know the conventions. But here's the thing: the horror genre is a young person's audience. It's a young person's game. The younger people will always gravitate towards Annabelle creation versus other things because it uses the conventions. The conventions are proven. They move things along. They display ideas, okay, and they're newer. And the younger audience will always gravitate towards what's newer. So it's not really a like, hey, they don't make horror movies the way that they used to. No, they've always made horror movies the same exact way. What changes is technology and how films look and so on and so forth. A lot like Pumpkinhead, the Dark Half nails these conventions in a delightful way, in a I, near perfect way. Okay, so with that being said, this movie has a really cool ending, but it also has a type of ending where I kind of wish this movie was huge. I think it cost 15 million, made about 10 million at the box office. There was no real aftermarket at the time, so yeah, considered a failure. Which is probably why Romero and Hutton were considered dead on arrival after this. So this movie has an 80s special effects horror ending. It ends. I wish it went into a sequel on the pure idea is I want to see what happens right after this, like right after the credits. I want to know like how does this thing really get resolved? Okay, as we know, it's a horror movie, so evil gets defeated in a way or another. But I want to know exactly what happens after this because I just think it's everything went into a certain direction. They nailed it, but what does that really mean? Like, what does that mean for the character? What does that mean for the supporting characters? What does that even mean for Timothy Hutton? Because he's a subject of a criminal investigation. Okay, uh, like I don't know, like a cop's there, a cop witnesses these supernatural things. How does he explain death and disappearance and just a whole giant crime scene? And but the movie, where it's also very well conceived, that it's the psychological thriller parts are awesome. There's a dream sequence like 30 minutes, and the movie has a solid 30-minute build up, lock in to tell you kind of what the rules are, to tell you what the situations are, introduce everything, and go deeper into the complex of Timothy Hutton. And they took time. Romero took time with that. Give him a lot of credit. So, oh my God, I'm saying so much. Okay, the care that he took in setting this situation up, where this guy's going to have a dual personality, should really be looked at. I think I thought of Fight Club the entire time watching this, and uh, it's almost like Fincher, I think, used a chunk of this movie as a template, and the movies are separated by roughly 6 years. Fight Club was part of the films of 1999 that we discussed already, so it's not like they're close. These movies are close, but it's interesting on like another side note here. It's very interesting that this movie has faded away and is long forgotten. And even within the death of Romero, there's hardly, I don't think it really even got mentioned at all, which is shocking to me. So, but let me just, I took a couple notes. Let me just see what else we got here. I've gotten into the habit. I really enjoy taking notes now as I'm watching movies. Yeah, so after the 30-minute mark, everything is set up. And he communicates with his alternate self through writing. And there's a very cool like pencil writing scene when he writes with the pencil and he's channeling this other personality, this other manifestation. It's cool. It's a cool idea. It's very tricky filmmaking. It sets up the rest of the movie from the first time we see it. Again, like just well done, Romero. Yeah, and I don't know. I just took a couple notes on just the use of special effects in this, especially at the end. It broke it broke into a dream state type sequence and flow. And Mark and I, we just watched Blade Runner, which like the ending for Blade Runner 2049 we thought was so lackluster and let down, and that's a movie that has any option at once. Like you can do anything you want with that with a $150 million budget. This movie, even for its day, the money is well spent. The money is there. Uses sparrows in such a cool, fun. Just it's a fun way. But here's the thing. No movies without its faults. Does a movie kind of not have a speed, not have a pace? Does it not speed along or pick up? Definitely. But I don't know. I think that's a part of the experience with this one. I think it has a longer draw. I think the deaths in the movie definitely have consequence. They're not fantasy in any way, even though it's an alternate personality. And there's a couple times where you're not really sure where the movie's going to go because of the split personality nature of the movie. And the beginning of this, it's a kid getting on the school bus that gets like an aneurysm and he gets a brain operation, and man, like kind of freaky. And you're inside someone's head, like literally within a few minutes of this movie. It's like the ball, I love it. The balls of that got some grit, and it wasn't just for shock value. It was just to help tell the story. But yeah, so we're not going to go any deeper. This is Dream Warriors, 31 Days of Dread, Day 6, The Dark Half, and we have Dallas. Hello, buddy. Dallas just came up. Came up to say hello. But yeah, signing off, and everyone, rock and roll. Have a good day. Have a good night.